This conversation is taking place at the DuPont Environmental Center in the Russell W. Peterson Wildlife Refuge.
You've been in government most of your adult life. Delaware is now, what do they call it, a blue state. It's Democrats control this state, control the legislature, the governor's office, all but one statewide other office. What have you seen happen in Delaware over the last 20 years or so that you've been involved in?
Well, I think to me the biggest change is when I first started getting involved back in the early 1980s. It was really a Republican-leaning state. Most of the statewide in those days, the governor and lieutenant governor were both Republicans. The state treasurer became a Republican, or I think it was Democrat, then it was a Republican, and state auditor was Republican. Many of the statewide officers, you had Senator Roth serving with Senator Biden, and then Representative Carper, and before that Representative Evans, who was a Republican, and then Castle after that. So it was very much a mixed government. For the bulk of my service, the House of Representatives in the Delaware General Assembly was a Republican majority, significant majority. And even when Tom Carper was elected governor, and by the way, the Senate was always a Democrat. Two things happened, though. The Democrats in the Senate, many of them, particularly in leadership, were very conservative Southern Democrats from the southern part of our state. And there was always a balance in terms of approach, with Republicans in the majority in the House, Democrats in the governor's office, and then Democrats in charge in the Senate, but conservative Democrats. So it's tended to moderate different issues as they came through the legislature and went to the governor. It made it, I think it made people be a little bit more thoughtful. They had to think through the other side and kind of work together. And it started, I think, when Pete DuPont was governor, and the Democrats and Republicans were really at loggerheads. They passed their own budget, and Governor DuPont vetoed the budget, and they created a big problem. But after that, the leadership, Democratic leadership, said, this doesn't really work very well. So the challenge more recently has been, how do we govern when there's not that moderating voice on the other side of the aisle? And it's created some challenges, I think.
Looking forward, are you optimistic or pessimistic?
I wouldn't be in this business if I wasn't an optimist, and I am optimistic. Of course, I spent my first 2 years working with colleagues on the other side. Not much of that was going on during that period.
You've been pretty successful. You've had, what, 2, 3 bills passed?
3. We had 1 bill, and then 2 others that were incorporated in another piece of legislation. So, one was a separate freestanding, and that was a good, that last one, which was the Veterans CDL bill, was a simple measure really to help returning veterans get commercial driver's license so that they could get them wherever they were and didn't have to go back to their home state, if you will. And it cut through some of that. And it came to me just because of the relationship that I had developed with the Republicans on the other side. The simple reality is, if you want to get anything done in the House of Representatives, you got to work with the Republicans. That goes back to my observation about the way we used to work in Delaware when the House was a Republican majority. So we've had some success there. I've developed relationships through the bipartisan breakfast group. We're going to, as we start off this second term, double that. And I just sense and hear a different attitude, a different tone among my Republican colleagues. They came in with a lot of fire, inspired by Tea Party backing that they got in the 2010 election, really coming in to fight the president. And I think now they realize that the president was reelected. He's not running in 4 years. We better find our own way to help move the country forward. So I'm going to be looking for opportunities to do that. There were plenty of them out there. We've got a lot of, I'm part of the House gun violence prevention caucus task force that we've set up, and working through those issues will be very challenging.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
You're connected with Content Delaware.